Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to War Thunder with me, Screezilla, and I hope you're all well. Now, today I'm going to do a video on a little bit of a look back of a tank that's become very... it's not as popular as it once was. It never really was that popular. The Chai 2. Now, this tank is a bit of a weird tank, in all honesty. It's one of those tanks that's very overlooked and it's not used very much. Now, the Chai 2 is a relatively big tank, as you can see, but it has very light armour. It's got 75mm of armour at the front, and that's about it. At 5.0 battle rating, it's not enough to really stop many shots. You will even get taken out by AAA vehicles from the front. Your crew are made up in a rather standard setting. You've got a machine gunner, well, you've got your driver, sorry, you've got your second gunner, you've got your loader, you've got your gunner, and then your commander. So you have two gunners in this tank because you've got a secondary gun here. Now, the secondary gun is not great. It's not a very high caliber gun. I'm trying to remember the caliber of it. I think it's only a 50mm gun off the top of my head, but it only has a very low penetration value, and it's not really all that great. The main gun that you'll be using is the 75mm. Now, the thing with this gun is it's an autoloader. It was the first autoloader added into the game. The gun is very good, but it did receive some changes. It used to be, I think, a 5-shot autoloader, and they've now changed it to a 2-shot autoloader. What that does is it gives it a much lower reload time, but you still have that very good gun. Now, you also have new ammunition since the release. The Type 4 Koi ammunition is very, very good. It's got a good muzzle velocity, it's got a good explosive filler, and it's got good penetration. This is the tank's biggest strength. The high explosive is a bit pointless, in all honesty. The biggest problem with this tank, though, is its sheer size. It's a very large tank. It's taller than a Tiger, which really does mean it's very hard to hide. This tank it's a behemoth, really. Now, with the French autoloaders now in game, I thought I'd have a bit of a look back and a bit of a play again of it, because this gun is my favourite gun. The Type 2 as it's called now, or it was a Type 5 when it was first introduced, 75mm gun, is fantastic, and it's just, the gun handling is beautiful. It's still my favourite gun in game. And honestly, tier for tier, I'd say it's one of the best guns in game. But on this tank, I've never really liked it. Now, the old auto-loading system was quite good, but you did have that very long reload time, of course. The tank itself is mediocre in all areas. It's not great in any one spot. It's slow, it's big, it's got very low armour, and it just really... well, it's not a vehicle that's that great. Now, being that I hadn't played this tank in a while, I was actually just getting used to the shots, so I do miss a few shots here, and I am sorry for that. Just going way over target or way under target. So I fire off 2 shots at that, I think it's a Dicamax. Might be an Emil. I get a second shot, but hit the track, of course, and cause no damage. So now I'm on the reload. And as you can see, it's not a super long reload to get the ammunition back in, which is probably the biggest strength for this. I fire off at a similar spot, but miss both my shots, so I decide to reverse here. Reverse speed is not great. Got about 5 mph reverse speed, so again, it's not great in reverse. So, there's a lot of things wrong with this tank, and there's really not much right with it. Even the turret is very weak, all things considered. You've got a big, high-profile, heavy tank with a very weak, mediocre gun in the front, and a good gun, but an awful turret. The turret rotation speed is really bad. the general performance of this tank is overall pretty bad. Not really selling it, am I? But where it does come in useful is the sheer force of the round. And we've got a T-34-85 up here and to our right. Now I'm going to try and get up, but he is hit, and I thought he was actually taken out here, so I didn't actually take the shot on him, because otherwise I would have started shooting, and then I realised he's alive, but too late. Then I notice off to the right hand side in a moment, there is another T-34. So, I'm going to try and get on target here, to try and poke out. One of the advantages of being a tall tank is you can sort of poke out quite well. First shot, hit the tracks, no penetration, drat. Second shot, missed completely, hits me. We get pretty lucky with that shot. I send off a shot with my secondary gun. Second shot with the secondary, just really trying to convince him that I fired. Get the aim in, shoot, and take him out through the top of the turret. This is the part where that gun excels, it is really devastating. You can really cause a lot of damage. And it does perform very well in those situations. So our team's getting a little bit decimated. We're mostly down by B, trying to protect it. B is one of the harder points to assault, but also to attack. There's the Nash horn up there. So I've been calling out, trying to get the aircraft to go and attack it, because, well, there's no way I'm going to poke out with a Nash horn over there. It's not worth really trying those tanks, because they are very strong. So I'm going to try and keep to the side of this hill and keep low. Now the Chai-Ri 2, I have done a video on this a long time ago on the history of video. It was a prototype tank, and there were a couple of ones built. There were actually a couple of them built just before the end of the war. It looked like it was going to be a very interesting tank, and it was going to be a very... it was going to perform very well, in all honesty, by the looks of it. Unfortunately, or fortunately you could say, there was not enough metal in time, and the war was over. The chassis did go on to make the Ho-Ri, the SPG, so the self-propelled gun Ho-Ri was on this chassis, and you know, there was quite a few bases off of it. All in all, it's not a terrible vehicle, but okay, I've got a teamwork there for some reason. But it's not as advanced as the tanks you're fighting against, so to say. Much like all Japanese tanks, up to really the STB and the Type 74, they're very very old-fashioned in their design, because they were still catching up with the West in their technology. So you do notice that a little bit with some of these tanks, that they're just very slow. The turret is a great example. It's a hand-cranked turret. If I just go to the interior here, you can see it's a hand-cranked turret, and that means it moves very, very slow. And that really affects this tank, because it's just so bleeding slow to move around with the turret. You know, you can very easily get outflanked by a light tank, because it will just run circles around you all day. So that's something you've really got to pay attention to. Now finally that Spitfire is going over there to the Nash horn, so finally I feel a bit more confident to poke out, because, well, that tank is now gone and it's being harassed, so you know, it makes my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to see if I can get round to the town there and get to the buildings so I can hide a little bit, and see if I can get up to A to try and cap it, to get us the win. Keeping an eye on that side, because there's going to be a lot of flankers up there, no doubt. So moving around and spot some antenna, the M4A1 FL10 up there. It's a very dangerous tank to play around with. It's the French Sherman, Super Sherman, so I'm going to try and get a shot on target. Fire way too high. Second shot rings over the top of me. Now I'm reloading here. Reloading, but he gets that second shot on target. Unfortunately, if I had 2 shots in the breach there, I probably would have got him before he got his shot out. But unfortunately, I did not have that available. I'm telling the Comet up there that there is the M4A1 there and pinging it on the map as much as I can. So I'm just going to move back, try and not get killed, and keep a bit lower. Now another problem this tank has, which doesn't help with its high profile, are the 2 antennae on the top of it, and also that huge cupola. Both massive weak spots and both things that people take advantage of. Now the Comet's taking the FL10's notice away from me, so I'm going to slowly climb the hill, get on target. First shot just a little bit high, drop it down. Second shot, nice and easy, takes him out. The post-penetration damage of this gun is fantastic. Now, Su-85 there to the right. I'm on the reload, and unfortunately, I am missing my, I think my loader's down. Take him out. Job done. Missed the Dicamax there, actually. Didn't notice that one there. But you can see how this tank can work in this situation. As I say, this tank is nowhere near the best tank in the game, and it really isn't easy to play. But it is a rewarding tank, and you can do some very fun kills with it. With that fast-firing autoloader, even though it's only a 2-shot autoloader, you can use it to your advantage, and you'll see that a little bit in this game. But also having the secondary gun available. Now I can't get a shot on that Dicamax, so I sort of saw some smoke and saw what was happening. But that secondary gun, much like the mouse, you can use it to sort of flank people and taunt people so that they think you've fired off a shot. Now unfortunately, when you do lose a crew member, generally you lose that gunner for the secondary gun. So it's not very often you get to use it, in all honesty, because you usually get shot quite often. And one of the saving graces of this tank is the fact that it has so many crew members and such light armour. You will get over-penetrated an awful lot with it. It's not often you'll actually get shot and sort of die instantly, because usually a shell goes straight through. You might lose a couple of crew members, but that's about the worst of it. Now this tank is not great in urban fighting as well, just because it's so slow and so large as well. As I say, it doesn't really have anywhere it excels. Possibly the only place it is okay at and has a bit more of an advantage is a map like the Maginot Line, things like that, where it is a very big map and you can sort of snipe a little bit with it, because this gun is very easy to snipe with. Now B is being capped here, so it's imperative we also start capping A to try and get some pressure off down near B. But we've also got a lot of vehicles heading towards that area, so hopefully our team will be able to take him out. That's the plan anyway. So keeping an eye on the right hand side there. Of course this is realistic battle, so you have to remember that there's no markers in this mode, so if there's a tank over there I wouldn't see it, but in the replay I would see it. Coming up to B, the shot just rung out in front of us to that Comet, so something is over there firing at us. Can't see what it is at the moment, so I'm just going to keep behind this bunker. Would be nice if we could actually use these bunkers, sort of drive in there and have a gun spot or something. That would be kind of cool, but oh well. Can't have it all, I guess. Interesting thing with the Maginot Line is how it's sort of set up. These metal ones on top of those are the air sort of vents, possibly machine gun posts, but those metal bulges that you see when we go around again, like this one here, dead in front of us, they were actually anti-tank guns most of the time. And the way they had it set up is they had these big cannons all along the line and facing towards the bridges between France and Germany. And the reason the Maginot Line was so important was because the French had the opportunity to blow up bridges and take out the bridges before the Germans could invade the country. So it was imperative that those were taken out before the French could destroy the bridges to stop the advance, because it would have really put a problem on. The way the Germans sort of countered that was they used paratroopers and special forces to get above there and into the actual Maginot Line, and would use shape charges in the form of a sort of like a C4 charge, placing it on top of those armoured turrets, because they had something like 100 millimeters of armour or something stupid like that. So they were very hard to kill with conventional weapons. You know, a tank wouldn't be able to take him out. You know, this place was pretty much impenetrable, and it was a real fortress. But with the surprise attack, they used glide. I don't think they didn't actually use paratroopers. Sorry, I'm forgetting my history there. They used gliders, and they landed gliders in the area and around the Maginot Line, and in forts and things like that. And it was an amazing attack, amazing assault, and yeah, that's how it was captured. The French did manage to blow up a couple of the bridges, which did stop the advance a little bit, and made the German advance a little bit harder, but it was in concept, the Maginot Line did work, and in theory it did work for a little bit as well, but they didn't counter in for the air force and the airstrike capabilities. The Germans couldn't have attacked it in a frontal assault. They couldn't have actually captured the Maginot Line with tanks and things like that. So it's just interesting looking at it. Anyway, back to the game. So we've managed to recapture B, so that's good, and A is now on the way to be captured. Now there's an Ostwind over there, and we've also got a Hetzer coming towards us as well. Now, I think there's a Churchill to the right of us. There's the Hetzer. Hetzer's got a Hetz. Now this is going to be quite hard because of the armour. I've really got to hit the lower point. Now it's sort of facing away from me, and I hit the gun breech there, unfortunately. The shot was a little bit off target. Reloading here. Sort of poking out to try and keep him off the Churchill, but the Churchill is down. Now the Churchill's been set fire to and taken out of the game. So it's just me up here at A, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried because that Hetzer is going to cause a lot of damage towards me. Now, A is almost captured, so we can win this game. Don't notice the Ostwind first of all, because I'm really trying to keep an eye for that Hetzer. All of a sudden, Hetzer's hitting me. Sorry, the Ostwind's hitting me. Now, first shot, a little bit low. Second shot, perfect on target. It takes out my driver. And this is starting to get a little bit of a butt-clenching moment here, because we could lose this game. If this Hetzer comes around while I'm reloading and I'm without a driver, I'm in serious trouble. Now, frontally, the Hetzer is going to be hard to penetrate for me as well. So, if I can manage to knock the Hetzer or get underneath it, it will be fine. Now, the Hetzer's not sure if I'm reloading. The good thing is, though, he's chosen the wrong side to come around. Now, we'll just pause it here for a moment, and we'll show the mistake this driver's made. So, the thing with the Hetzer is the gun's on the right-hand side. The left-hand side has got the driver's port and is a little bit less protected. He's come on this right-hand side, this right-hand flank, or left flank for him. But what that means is his gun, he can't get his gun on us. If he'd come this way round, he would have been able to get his gun on target much easier. So effectively, he's snookered himself. Because he's come around this way, he can't get his gun on target with ease. So he's sort of set himself up for a fail here. Now, I can't really do much to him from the top. I can't penetrate the front of this tank very easily. My shots are going to bounce. So let's see how this goes. I'm reloaded at last, go into my gunshot mode, fire off a shot to make him overconfident. He comes up, second shot straight through the bottom. Because knowing how he was thinking, okay, I'll drive up, they'll fire into me, and absolutely it would have worked with any other tank. Because this first shot's going to ricochet because of his angle sort of up here. Shoot him in this spot, no penetration. And he's thinking, awesome, okay, I've got this guy now. But because of that auto-loading system, it gave me the perfect shot, because he doesn't have enough depression to shoot me in this location. When he's coming up over the hill, the gun's not got enough depression to shoot at me. However, because I've got that auto-loader, I can take that second shot into that lower plate, and because of his angling, it's going to penetrate pretty much. So an easy kill for me, but I had to plan it and hit it perfectly. A has just been captured as well, so a couple of seconds later, he would have lost the game anyway. A couple of seconds earlier, he could have won the game for himself, but the victory is ours, and the win is ours. 5 kills and 1 zone captured. All in all, a good game. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed this replay. Just before I go, I'll just jump back to the hangar and show you the Chiree and the hangar view, and just talk about some of the weak points and strong points. So as I said, the 37mm gun, not 50mm, I was being hopeful there. So the 37mm gun, and we all know how useless that thing is. So as I said, the armour on this tank is very poor. You've got effectively 76 to 80mm of armour at the front. The side can be okay if you get hit here, because there is quite a lot of angling on the slope, so you do get around about 110mm of effective thickness. Again, this cupola will cause problems, because when a shot hits it, especially if it's got explosive filler in it, it will then explode through the top of the tank. The front armour is hopeless. Again, 75mm, so it's basically, and it's quite flat as well, so really 76mm of effective thickness. The 20mm plate here has got a lot of sloping, so it can be quite useful sometimes, because you will bounce shots. The sides as well, again, 50mm with sloping, 85mm of effective, but the sloping does help. Really, the strongest point of the front of this tank is actually the lower glacis. The 35mm plate, because it's so angled, you do get some very good thickness. So that's really the strongest point on the tank, is the lower plate. So sometimes people will shoot you with the lower plate, sort of thinking that's the weakest spot, and that will bounce a shot for you. But you also have this flat front plate, which is also very weak. The side armour is useless. Pretty much anything will penetrate it. The top, again, is very low armour protection, and the back as well. You will get penetrated by lots of things. Even some of the higher caliber machine guns will take you out with ease. The actual gun is the big strong point though. The standard round, the Type 1 APHE, has got good penetration value across a decent range. Again, it's got good velocity, and it handles very well. But when you get the Koi, it makes a huge difference. It's just that bit more penetration, a slight bit more TNT in it as well, so you do get those one-hit kills. The high explosive is pretty useless. The secondary gun has the Type 94 APHE, which gives you about 50mm of penetration up close. You can use it to sometimes penetrate some lighter armoured targets, but it is a very small shell, so it doesn't really do much to the tank. All in all, it's an okay tank, but I would really advise using the Chito late over it. The rate of fire is very similar overall because of the reload, but the autoloader does help out in some situations, as you've just seen. At 5.0, it feels okay at that battle rating, but it could actually live at 4.7. It wouldn't be that much difference. The only reason it's up tier to 5.0 is because of that auto-loading system. Okay guys, well I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a like and let me know below, and I will see you next time. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a lovely day. Bye bye.